Alright, hello again. My name is Travis Weesey, and today I am joined by Bree, Miranda, and Emma with Mike on the camera for us today. And today they're helping me with a couple of our activities for our lesson. Starting off are going to be our main two lessons that are going to involve different types of verbs. The first one is just going to focus on verbs and their usage. And what I've done is I've provided my students here a paragraph to kind of illustrate the process of a school day. So it's just going to start in the morning, end of the night, within a relatively short paragraph, and what they'll do is alternate from one person to the next, read for a bit, they'll reach a blank, and they'll read it out loud and fill in the blank with a verb. And the point of this lesson is to get across the idea that many different types of verbs can be used in many different contexts. We don't have to be locked into any one word given the context. So all I ask is that we all get a little bit creative while also staying within the realm of possibility given the context of the paragraph. But with that, let's go ahead and start. So I think we can focus more on them right now.
You want us just to read it off?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Read it off till the first blank, and whoever's reading fills in that blank, and we just alternate.
Okay. After my alarm went off, I blanked to start my day. I stretched to start my day.
Okay, so if you could write that down. And we'll just kind of read over the whole thing by the end of it. At least it's written.
I blanked my clothes and blanked to the kitchen. I grabbed my clothes and went to the kitchen.
Alright, perfect.
No dear.
No pressure.
I went to blank breakfast. I went to make breakfast.
Okay.
Once I had eaten, I blanked to school. I drove to school.
Yeah, perfect.
I blanked to my teachers as they blanked the lesson. I listened to my teachers as they taught the lesson.
I blanked some lunch and blanked with some friends before blank back to class.
That's a bit of a longer one, so feel free to split that up however y'all deem necessary.
I'll do the first two. Okay. I ate some lunch and talked with some friends.
Before walking back to class.
After some more lessons, I blanked home to blank my homework. I went home to finish my homework.
Once I blinked it, I got to blank. Once I completed it, I got to, I don't know, man.
Perhaps relax.
That's what I thought about doing.
Finally, after blank some dinner, I went to blank. Finally, after making some dinner or cooking.
Yeah.
After cooking some dinner, I went to sleep.
Awesome. So if I can go ahead and grab that.
Yep.
We've heard it in chunks, so let me see it all together. After my alarm went off, I stretched to start my day. I grabbed my clothes and went to the kitchen. I went to make breakfast. Once I had eaten, I drove to school. I listened to my teachers as they taught the lesson. I ate some lunch and talked with some friends before walking back to class. That's so. After some lessons, I went home to finish my homework. After I completed it, I got to relax. Finally, after cooking some dinner, I went to sleep. This is perfect. I would say the one thing that I want to try is I'm going to read a couple of these sentences, and I want to see if you guys, to kind of get the idea of this lesson across, is if you could give me a different verb.
Okay.
So, after my alarm went off, I blanked to start my day.
Cried.
A valid response, yes. I blanked my clothes and blanked to the kitchen.
I picked
Yeah.
my clothes and then what was the rest of the sentence?
And blanked to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Also words.
Crawled.
Well,
crying.
Well, I was about to say, after crying to wake up, then yeah. Jumping ahead, let's see. Once I completed this, pretty good there. Once I completed it, I got to blank.
Chill.
Also works too.
Sleep.
Well, that's before.
Nap.
I got to nap.
Yeah, perfect. So that's gonna be the basic idea of verb choice, is that not only were they able to fill in the verbs in the context provided, but they were also to provide new verbs with the same context. And that's gonna be the basic idea of verbs in general. With that said, with a lot of these verbs, that kind of leads it straight into our next lesson, an activity where some of these verbs change based on the tense that they're in. So as an example, within the words that they use, taught is one, ate is another, drove, went, and I think those are going to be the main ones. But those are what we call irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are verbs that, unlike other verbs which can change by adding ed or ing at the end based on the tense, irregular verbs are going to change their form completely. So if you could come over here very quickly, I have the next activity set up where we have 3 columns labeled as present, past, and past participle, which are our 3 verb tense types, or at least the 3 that we're focusing on today. And below that, I have a bunch of verbs just kind of strewn about as pieces. And this one might take a little bit longer since there's a fair amount of them. But the idea is that each verb is going to have a set of 3 words in total that represent the present, past, and past participle form of that verb. So what I'm going to have my students do now is they're going to look through this little mess of verbs right here and first organize them by the verbs first. After that, once they have their little groups, they will be able to organize them by past, present, and past participle. And just as a small review of those 3 terms, present just talks about what is currently in the now, past is obviously what has already occurred, and past is also what has already occurred, but it is typically preceded by the word have. So to kind of give away a bit of an answer, I have eaten, I have gotten. Words like that. And you might also notice that such words will end, as an example, with en. So like written, en or n. Words like that are past participles. So these will be the basic idea. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and let the students take a look at this and continue.
So we're doing present, written, written. What do you think? Past or past participle?
Past participle because it ends with a and.
Past. Yeah. Gotten. Past participle. So cute.
They're jumping straight to the...
Oh, were we not supposed to do that?
No, that works too. Please, by all means.
Given. No.
Gave. Hang on. You can't start one and not finish it.
Oh, are we supposed to put them all
Oh
together?
well, we did the first line completely.
Well, wouldn't, and then give is present.
Should be gave.
You got me all confused. See, you put it in the wrong spot.
Oh, there's got.
So no.
Known. New.
No.
No is right here.
No, so we'll do eat.
Eight.
Is there eaten?
Yeah.
I eaten it. Do.
Did.
And done.
In that case, the EN is technically out of order, but the same idea is there.
Okay.
Take. Took.
Taken.
Say.
Said.
And said.
Oh, okay.
Yep, this is going to be one of those irregular verbs where the EN rule doesn't apply, but you can go by the have rule, so I have said.
Okay.
Okay.
So at least a rule applies. You don't need both rules to apply, you just need one of the rules.
Okay.
See, saw, see.
Seesaw.
See.
Make.
Made.
And made. Another
Hey.
one.
Go.
Went.
Been. No, went.
Gone.
What does
Yep.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the stranger ones.
Was and been.
Perfect.
Yay.
We're smart.
Just listening to y'all along the way, it looks like you got it done perfectly. And thank you for vocally saying them as you were doing it too. That helps immensely. And just looking at it from above, just organization-wise and up and down, left and right, it looks perfect. So this is exactly what irregular verbs are going to be, what they should look like, and essentially we've also said a couple of examples of how they're to be used. So like, I write a letter, he writes a letter. So he is writing a letter, or he wrote a letter, like, okay, he did it in the past, or I have written a letter. That is still in the past, but a different form, essentially. And this is going to be the basic idea of the irregular verbs. So in total, we've gone over 2 different types of verbs, or at least usages, where one being a little broader use of verbs with our fill in the blank exercise, and now with our matching exercise, we have irregular verbs. So I hope that this helps you with your idea of verbs in general, and I'd like to thank my roommates again, and Mike for taking the camera today. So we will cover this in greater detail online, and thank you so much for watching.